How's it going, Canucks fans? David here. Happy Father's Day to all. Hope everyone's having a wonderful time with their families today. And in today's video, I will be previewing the Vancouver Canucks versus Minnesota Wild play-in series. I'm just going to say it's super exciting as a Canucks fan. We haven't seen playoff hockey since 2015 when they went out in round 1 versus the Calgary Flames. And it's awesome. Even though it's technically the playoffs, it's a play-in series, I think it's going to be great for young guys like Pettersson, Hughes, Besser, and even Horvat again, who hasn't been there since he was a rookie, to get experience playing in these meaningful games in a series, a best of 5 versus the Minnesota Wild, which is currently like the tentative schedule is for it to start at the beginning of August. And this is a very interesting series because the two teams couldn't be really much more different. Vancouver relies on their young talent and a great goaltender, whereas Minnesota doesn't really have the offensive flair that Vancouver has. They have a very solid top 4D and a goalie situation where we don't even know who's going to start for them come whenever the games begin. So yeah, to do this I prepared a whiteboard full of information which I'm going to get into. I'm going to explain everything on here. And yeah, let's not waste any time. So the records this season for Vancouver was 36, 27, and 6, allowing them to finish 7th in the Western Conference. Minnesota was 35, 27, and 7, which is the 10th seed in the Western Conference. And you can see these records are almost identical, and there's a 3-seed gap, which just shows how crazy that race was in the Western Conference. It was so close for those last few wildcard spots. And I also want to take this chance to say that I see on Twitter everyone saying Canucks in 3, Canucks in 4, and even in my playoff predictions video, which I'll leave a link to in the description, I had Canucks in 4. But these records are really close, so let's keep looking here. The lines, Vancouver's first line, and I took these off daily faceoffs. Vancouver, I kind of had a little more creativity with because I watched them. I watched them a lot more, obviously. So I'll explain the lines here. Miller, Pettersson, Toffoli, Pearson, Horvat, Besser, Roussel, Gaudette, Virtanen, and then Ferland, Beagle, Sutter. Now, people may have some problems with these combinations. Some might want Besser on the first line. Some might not like the fourth line without Tyler Mott or Zach McEwen. But I just went with what I can realize. I can't see any of these players being scratched come playoff time. Ferland might still be injured. He might not play, but I'm hearing positive signs about that. So this is what I went with for their forward group. Minnesota's Jordan Greenway, Eric Staal, Kevin Fiala. The second line, Zach Parise, Eric Sanak, Kanin, Foligno, Galchenyuk, Zuccarello, and then on the fourth line, Donato, Koivu, and Hartman. So, right off the bat, Minnesota doesn't have an Elias Pettersson. Now, Kevin Fiala has really taken a step out this year, and he's impressed me so much, and there's a lot of offensive flair from him. But even if you look after Pettersson, Vancouver has so many solid guys like Miller, who is top 20 in league scoring, Brock Besser, who when he's on his game is one of the most lethal goal scorers in the game. Toffoli, who's had a very solid showing when he was in Vancouver. Bo Horvat, who really does it all. And then even depth guys on their third and fourth line who can get it done. Minnesota, they don't have that same depth. If you just look at their third and fourth lines, I like Vancouver's a lot more. And I like the star power on Vancouver's forwards. I like their depth more. And for me, this is clear Vancouver is a favorite when it comes to offense. Let's look at the defense. Vancouver's first pairing, Hughes and Tanev, then Adler, Myers, Stetcher, Ben. I put Ben in here over Fantenberg, even though Fantenberg seemed to be getting more games than Ben was when they were both healthy. I think Jordy Ben has a lot of experience in this league, and I think he's going to come into the play-in series kind of with hopefully a refresh, so I think they'll give him another shot. Minnesota's blue line, Suter, Spurgeon, Brody and Dumba, Soucy, Hunt. Now, I took this off daily faceoff, and Minnesota fans might be losing it at me right now. I put Soucy in on the third pairing just because he had a great showing in the games that he did play, and he was injured at the end of the season, and he's a left defenseman. So I put him here instead of Hunt. I moved Hunt to the right side and took Patterson out of the lineup. If you look at these two groups of defense, Minnesota is a clear favorite. I think this top 4 can compete with any top 4 in the entire NHL. It's so solid. Suter is still such a great defenseman. Dumba, he's great too. Like, just if you look at these top 4, they're all solid. There's no questions there. And if you look at Vancouver's, I like that Hughes-Tanev pairing, even though they could have trouble in their own zone. Edler and Myers, there's still questions there. We've seen them kind of be clumsy throughout the season. And then Stetcher and Ben on the third pairing doesn't fare too poorly for a third pairing compared to others across the league. But if we're just looking at the defense, I think Minnesota this time unquestionably takes it. Now let's look in goal. Markstrom and Demko for Vancouver versus Stalock and Dubnyk for Minnesota. I don't think no matter who they start in Minnesota, it's going to take the performance that Markstrom is capable of giving. We saw him throughout the year lead the league in stolen wins. Vancouver rides on Markstrom. If he's playing well, the team's going to play well. And I have a lot of confidence in Jacob Markstrom. So next, let's look at their head-to-heads when they played this season. Now, I don't put a lot of emphasis into the head-to-head. I just thought it was interesting because overall it was pretty close throughout the season. The first time they played, Vancouver won in Minnesota 4-1 on the back of back-to-backs. Now, game 2, Minnesota won in their own building this time, 4-2, after being up 3-0. And then game 3 at Rogers Arena, Minnesota won 4-3 in a shootout where Galchenyuk got the winner. But that was so close. They scored a goal off Stetcher's face at one point. Louis Eriksson had a wide open net and missed on Devan Dubnyk. So, very tight all season. Then if we looked at the advanced stats, I just noticed some things. Because basically before making this video, I just wanted to see if there's, like, how the two teams play. And there's some obvious things that stick out. Vancouver is very north-south, so they create a lot of chances just off the rush, especially that first line of theirs, which when Besser was, Miller, Pettersson, Besser, the Lotto line, 649, their advanced stats were like top 10 in the league for lines. So they create a lot of, especially that line, creates a lot of chances that way. But then Minnesota is very east-west. They take their time more getting up the ice. They tend not to just shoot from everywhere. So, yeah, so Minnesota and Vancouver are pretty opposite in the way they play, but they both have low possession, and they're both very clinical. They do score a lot of the shots that they take. So I thought that was interesting. Odds, according to MoneyPuck.com, which bases their predictions based on their advanced stats, because the website's filled with those. So I assume that's what they're making this prediction based off of. 60.8% for Minnesota. Yeah, I'm gonna get there on why I disagree with that. But yeah, so that's what the odds are right now, according to MoneyPuck.com. Power plays, Vancouver is 4th in the league with a 24% power play. Minnesota was 11th, also pretty good at 21%. Penalty kill, Vancouver was right in the middle of the league at 16th with 80.5%, and then Minnesota was 25th with 77.2%. So special teams, Vancouver has the advantage. With a scary power play and with a kind of weak PK in Minnesota, that could be a difference maker this series. Now, based on all the information I just said, I still think Vancouver is going to take it. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people would say because, yeah, Vancouver does rely on Markstrom, and a bad game from Markstrom is going to result most likely in a loss unless the team outscores their problems. I like Vancouver's offense way more. I like their goalies way more. And defense, Minnesota obviously has the edge. But I just think with the special teams advantage, the advantage in the lineup, I really have a hard time imagining Vancouver losing this series. I think it's going to be a great series to watch, though. The young players on Vancouver, it's going to be so cool to see how they do. And even Minnesota, it's interesting. They were selling at the deadline. They got rid of Jason Zucker, who probably would have been somewhere on this first line, if not the second. And it's for them to be playing play-in series games, it's kind of insane. So, two teams that have a very close record, very opposite in the way they play. It's going to be a great matchup. The last time these teams met in the playoffs was 2004, which was an insane series. So, yeah, that's it. Those are my thoughts. I have Vancouver taking this. In my predictions video, I said 4. So even though I was saying, oh, all the people saying 3 or 4, I'm agreeing I'm going in 4. I just don't think it's as obvious as some would think. So those are my thoughts on this series. Let me know what you think, if you agree with me, what you disagree with. Even put which players, if you disagree with the lineup, let me know too. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't checked out my last edit called Game of Survival, please do. I'll put it in the top right corner here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter @FanVancouver. Stay safe, happy Father's Day again, and go Canucks go.